Всем привет, my name is Elvin, welcome back to yet another video. How are you guys doing? Today I have a very simple tutorial for you guys. How to make a Gary Vee style signature logo without using any fancy programs like After Effects. All you need is a phone, a finger and a computer with editing program of your preference. Now if you have a tablet and or a pen that you can write on a screen, use that, you'll have better results. So let's jump right into it. Then the first step will be to record the screen of your phone. Now in my case I have an iPhone and it's super simple, just swipe up to bring up the command center and then you're gonna have a screen record button on the bottom. If you don't have it, just check your settings because you can customize your command center. Now for an Android, on more premium flagship phones, you can just swipe down and most probably you have the setting on your command center as well. However, I think it depends on the type of phone or the firmware because I have a Samsung A10 and it does not have an option at all. In that case, try to download some kind of app that can record your screen. Now that the screen is recording, the next step is to draw our signature. Now for this specific example, I'm going to use the built-in notes application on both iPhone and Android. However, if you feel that the results are not perfect, try downloading some drawing applications from the Apple Store or Play Store, I think, right? That should give you better results. Now once you're ready, let's go to our notes, create a new note and select the marker tool. I recommend you to draw it as thick as possible, simply because it will make your life easier when you're editing it. Once you're ready, draw your signature. Now you might need to get used to this, especially if you're using your finger and you're not used to drawing, but don't worry, just take your time, do as many takes as needed. Remember, it's always recording your screen, so you can always go back and cut out the perfect one. Once you're done, just stop your recording and it'll save in your gallery. Now with the video saved, go to your photo gallery, open up the video and cut out the signature that you think is the best. With the perfect signature chosen, it's time to export it to our computer. Now if you have an iPhone and a Mac, it's super easy, just use AirDrop. However, if you're like me and you have a Windows computer, then just use any file sharing service like Dropbox to get it over on your PC. And with that done, it's time to open our editing software. Now me personally, I'm a Davinci Resolve user, so I'm gonna show you how to do this in Resolve first. However, if you're a Premiere Pro user, don't worry, I'm gonna explain to you how to do this there as well. Just skip to the next part using the playhead or the timestamps in the description below. With Davinci Resolve open, our first step is to import the videos to our timeline. Now you can do this by either going to our media tab on the bottom or by simply dragging and dropping the videos from the folder that you saved it in. So I'll use option number 2. So go to our folder, select the videos and just drag it to our timeline just like this. Now, step number 2 will be to crop our video to get rid of as much background as possible. So let's select the first video made on our Android, scroll to the end just to reveal the full signature and go to your Inspector tab. By the way, if you don't have it, just press Inspector on the top. Scroll down to cropping and then let's crop the top and the bottom. Now also, the signature is a little bit too small, so let's go to our Transform tab and let's increase the size of it a little bit. And I will place it a little bit above the sky just so we can see it much better. Maybe even just like this. Perfect. Now let's do the same thing with the signature made on our iPhone. Let's go to the end and in the cropping, we'll just crop. Just don't forget to select it first, crop the left and the right. Step number 3 will be to remove the remaining background by applying an effect to it, which is done in the Fusion tab. But before we go there, let's first move our playhead to the first video, select the first video because we want to apply the effect on this video first, and then press Fusion. In Fusion, we will add an effect called Luma Keyer. To do this, in our Nodes workstation, just right click anywhere, press Add Tool, Matte, and then Luma Keyer. Once you press on it, a node or the effect will show up. However, it has no effect on our video. That's because it's not actually connected. So let's disconnect our original video, which is the media in, from the output, and instead connect it to the Luma Keyer. And then let's connect Luma Keyer to the output. Now, if you look at the screen at the top, it doesn't seem like anything happened. And this is because by default, Luma Keyer subtracts all the black color from the image or video. So in our case, in the inspector, we just need to press invert, which is right here. Once you press on it, everything that white becomes transparent. Now let's go to our timeline to see our final result. Look at that, perfect. Now let's also try to play this. And it's a bit laggy just because my computer needs time to re-render it, but once it's rendered it'll work flawlessly, so don't worry. If you feel that your signature needs a little bit of fine-tuning, then just go back to your Fusion and play around with the Luma keyer settings. Now let's apply the same effect to our signature made on our iPhone. So let's go back to our timeline, move our playhead to the end of the second video, select the video and press Fusion. Then right click, add tool, and under matte we have our Luma keyer. We will connect our media in to the Luma keyer to the output, just like this. And you can immediately see that all the black color has become transparent. So let's go back to our timeline, and there you go, it's done. However, if I zoom in, I can see this black stroke, so not everything was deleted. So we can fine-tune this by going back to our Fusion, and what I found works best is to adjust this tab right here, the low and the high. The low represents black color and high represents white color. So let's subtract black by moving it closer to the white. So I think let's go with halfway through, maybe just a little bit more. Let's go back to our edit, and it's gone. Now this is perfect. And that's basically it. Now just missing to add a little special effect sound if you wish to, and we're done. Now for my Premiere Pro users. Step number 1 will be to import the videos to our timeline. So let's do this by going to our folder where we save the videos, select them and just drag them to our timeline, just like this. Step number 2 will be to crop out as much background as possible. So let's search for crop in our effects, apply this to both of our videos. So with the first video selected, let's crop the left by 18 and the right by 18 as well. Now let's go to our Android video, select it, and then crop the top, let's say by 30. Yeah, it's fine. And the bottom also by 30. Now also it's very small, so I'm gonna just scale it up to, well, let's see how it is with 300. Yeah, it's fine like this. Now, going back to our first video, when you have a black background, the simplest way to do this is just by applying a Luma key. So search for Luma in your effects, apply it to your video, and voila, it's done. Now, if you want to fine-tune this, just play around with your threshold and cutoff in the effects control. However, I noticed that Luma key does not have an invert button, so we cannot apply this to white backgrounds. But no problem, there is another effect called color key. So let's first get rid of our Luma key effect. And in our effects, let's search for color key. And we will apply this to both of our clips. So with the first clip selected, let's scroll down to color key and let's select the color. So the good thing about color key is that we can get rid of any color we want. So in this case, we can either press on the color itself to have a color picker tab open up, or we can just use a tool and select the color you want to get rid of. So in this case, black. And as you can see, most of the black goes away. However, it's quite rough on the edges. However, we can clean it up with the other parameters. Now with this specific example, I found out that a edge thin of 1 and crank up the tolerance to the maximum, which is 255, and we have a clean signature. Now, if I try to play this, we have our signature. Perfect. Now let's do the same thing, but with the Android one. So let's scroll to the end. There you go. Select the clip. So let's scroll to the color key. I'll use the tool again, press white, and it just becomes very messy. So in this case, we have to play again with the parameters. So with the color tolerance, I'll move it all the way up to 255, which is the max, and it clears most of the white. However, you can still see white on the edges. So the feather is pretty much useless because if we increase feather, it just makes it glow white. So we'll keep it at 0. So the only other parameter I have left is edge thin, which will basically reduce the edges. And the minimum number is 1. And that poses a problem because it eats up most of the signature. And this is a good example why we need to draw our signature as thick as possible, as I mentioned earlier in the video. And now it's just missing a little special effect and we are done. Et voila, we're done. Super easy as promised. And for me personally, I really like this method because it has a more authentic feel to it, because it registers your handwriting. If you enjoyed this tutorial, drop a like, write a comment down below, consider subscribing, and I see you in the next one. Пока!